welcome to episode 15 of V8 Stealth Beetle. You've heard it and now you've seen it. An incredible piece of engineering. A lot of challenges and hurdles have been overcome to get to this point, and I think today we can talk about some of those challenges. To do that, obviously, I'm going to ask Jean to join me. Hello, Jean.
Hi, Doug.
Very, very nice. Tell me more.
Thank you. A very big point in our development, obviously, is the fact that she's now running. What initially started out to just be a dream of building a one-off car for me, my own little baby, has now turned into a production line.
Jean, a lot of people put big engines in Beetles. They're either hanging out the back or they're in a big bulge at the front. What makes the V8 Stealth Beetle different?
Doug, from the beginning, I was adamant that I wanted to mid-mount the engine. As per the GT40s, the engine sits in the middle of the car. And to accomplish that, the only way to really do it was to take the body off, put it one side, take the Beetle chassis, dump it, and start again, which is exactly what we did. We started to build a new chassis and mount the engine where we wanted, with the gearbox where we wanted, and the four corners back to where we wanted it.
Jean, that makes a lot of sense. You say you take the body away. What happens in that process?
We take the original body, we take it off the chassis. We have to cut a whole lot of the inners away. The front section here gets removed completely so that we've got space to put the new suspension in. So apart from the front being modified and cut, there's a lot of work at the back. As you can see, there's a lot of metal missing here, and we need all the space for the new engine, the new gearbox, the new suspension, the new brakes, the turbos. All the stuff is going to fit from this point all the way back. A lot of the dashboard we change. So we have structural changes happening inside the car before it gets panel beated, sprayed, etc. All those changes have to happen, because when I'm finished with this process, I want to be able to take the Beetle body, stick it back onto this new car, and it must still look like a Beetle. That's absolute criteria for me.
One of the questions we get a lot on the social media following is, what is the engine and gearbox? What is the powertrain that you're using here? What is sitting behind the driver's seat?
Doug, we decided on using the Audi 3.6 and or the 4.2 V8. It's a nice and light plant. It's small, compact, it's easy to get it in here. And just to make it that little bit more crazy, we've slapped two big turbos onto it. So we end up with 450 horses plus on something that weighs short of a ton.
So we could say it's the craziest production Beetle on the planet.
Very much so.
John, you mentioned there a lot of horses. I mean, what, 450 horsepower? That's a lot of power. How does the chassis handle all of that power?
Our initial chassis was a tubular mild steel space frame chassis. And I'm not saying it wouldn't have coped with the power, but we decided to make it even stronger and lighter, so we swapped to aluminium. So we're using a high-grade aluminium to build a box-type chassis. We've ended up with a product that's lighter than the mild steel. We're just on 80 kilograms, but a significant up in strength of the chassis.
And let's face it, I mean, that's how all supercars are built these days, isn't it?
It's absolutely the way forward. Aluminium is the future of all chassis, absolutely.
Right up front in this episode, I said that there were a lot of challenges that had to be overcome. And one of the big obvious ones is that the original 50-year-old Beetle was air-cooled. This big mother is not air-cooled. It has a radiator, and with it, I assume certain complications. Let's talk about that. Just before we get into the radiator story, I think it's important to clarify for those that maybe are new to V8 Stealth Beetle that this is not a production body by any shape or form.
Absolutely, Doug. This is the body that we use while we're doing development work. It's just easier if we don't have to worry about getting little scratches and nicks on it. So yes, this body is purely for development. It will never go into production.
And the Golf coloured body, by comparison, as we've seen in previous episodes, is a body that will go into production.
That's one ready to go to Germany, in fact.
And at the end of this episode, we'll have an update on the body that arrived in the workshop just 2 months ago.
Because of the engine plant that we have in the back, we have to try and cool this baby down. So we have a radiator in the nose of the car. We also decided that we didn't want to see louvers on the front of the car. We don't want this big gaps here and air intakes and stuff. So on the V8 style Beetle, we're forcing the air in under the car, under the nose. This whole section gets closed, just to give you an idea. So there will be a panel that climbs in here. All this is closed. The air is forced in through the radiator and then through a whole lot of vents. The air will exit the car again.
John, thanks. I think we've pretty much touched on the major challenges that you've encountered in the development of the car. I really do like the aluminium chassis, and I like your aluminium fuel tank.
We had very little room in which to build that fuel tank. We also have to get the air conditioner and the heater core in here for the car, for the interior. But we've still left with a good 50 litres of fuel.
And there's a 50 litres of fuel in there right now?
No, but there's a good 20 litres in there.
Enough for a drive?
Absolutely.
Well, we think that's a pretty fitting end to the year. The V8 Stealth Beetle is alive and running. We're all going to take a short break now to recover, and we hope that you'll enjoy the festive season in your own special way. 2018 is going to start with a bang, as this peek at the first right-hand drive production body just back from the panel shop will indicate. Here's hoping you have an awesome time. Please share this and our other videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like, and we'll see you soon.